Hi everyone, it's Stephanie here with a video for My Favorite Things. In today's MFTv episode, we are going to be creating striped glitter vellum. This is a really easy way to kind of step up your vellum and make it sparkly and fun and create a really great focal point for the background on your card design. So I have a piece of vellum that's cut slightly smaller than an A2 size card. I have 3 different colors of glitter that I'm going to be using on the background piece. And then I also have 3 different sizes of score tape. Score tape is a really great tape to use for this technique because it's really strong and the adhesive really holds on to that glitter. So I'm using an 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch, and 1/2 inch sizes just to kind of mix it up and make all of the stripes different sizes on this background piece. So to create the background is pretty simple. It does take a little bit of time to do it, but I think it's definitely worth the effort when you see the finished result. But what I do is I just pick a size of the score tape I want to start with, and I just start in the bottom corner and I just kind of work my way up from the right bottom up to the left top of my panel. And when I do this technique, I like to do the stripes on a diagonal. I just think it helps to make it so that if you kind of mess anything up or you don't get anything perfectly lined up, this just kind of hides it a little bit easier than if you were trying to do stripes perfectly straight across or perfectly up and down. So I always prefer a diagonal stripe. So I just am going to use my grid mat underneath, and I'm going to, because I can see through the vellum, it makes it pretty easy to line everything up and get everything kind of as straight as possible. So I just lay the vellum on top of my grid mat, and I just kind of position it so that I can use those grid lines to kind of guide the tape as I'm putting it down. Now I have no set plan when I'm doing this. I kind of just go back and forth between the different sizes of the tape, and I leave different areas of space between them. I kind of mix it up. Some of the tapes I put closer together, some of them I put farther apart, and then I like to add the thicker tapes, not as much as the thinner tapes, just because they are thick and they're going to take over a lot of the background piece. I definitely like to add them on for variation, but I don't use as much of the thickest one as I do of the 2 smaller sizes. So I'm just going to work my way up the panel and add all the adhesive. And you can see as I'm adding it, this adhesive rips really easily. You don't really even need scissors. It rips right off the roll with no problem. So I'm just kind of ripping off a length that I know is going to stretch completely across the panel, and then I'm just using my scissors to cut the excess off the ends. Now you can definitely measure this a little bit better than I was and have a little bit of less waste on your tape. But I was just kind of going with it, and I just kind of would pull a piece off, and then if I had enough left over, I would use it a second time, and that's what I did with this piece here. But I definitely did pull more tape off than I needed, so you could definitely measure a little bit better than what I was doing. So now we have all the tape on. Now is where we make the magic happen. We're going to start to add glitter to this. So what I'm doing is I put my panel onto a coffee filter, and this is just to catch the glitter, so I kind of contain the mess as much as possible. Glitter is definitely messy, so keep that in mind when you are doing this technique. But I definitely think the mess is worth it, and it cleans up really easy with Swiffer cloths, which I'll show you in a little bit here. So what I'm doing is I picked out the strips that I want to add the blue glitter to, and I carefully removed the backing piece from all of those strips all at once. You want to do all the strips that you want in one color of glitter together. And then I just sprinkled the glitter directly over top of those adhesive areas. And you can see here as I'm moving my finger around the strips that I've exposed the adhesive, the glitter is sticking right to it. And I'm using my finger to kind of burnish it in. And then I'm going to bring in my bone folder and burnish it a second time and really make sure that that glitter is stuck right down to that adhesive. And then, like I mentioned earlier, I just have some Swiffer cloths on hand, and I'm just going to wipe the panel with the cloth, and it's just going to kind of like static pull that glitter right to the cloth and clean up in a breeze. It makes it super easy. So now you can see I had so much glitter on that panel, but it's completely cleared off, and all I have is the glitter on the strips of the adhesive. So now that I have the blue done, I did the same process. I went through and decided which of the strips I wanted to be the pink color of glitter, and I removed all of the backing. And now once again, I took another coffee filter, a clean one, and now I'm just going to repeat the process. I used my finger first to burnish all the glitter in, and now I'm using my bone folder to repeat that process, and then wiping up all of the excess glitter with my Swiffer cloth to kind of clean it up. And then for the last set of strips, I'm going to do the process one more time. So I removed all of the rest of the adhesive backing, and now I'm taking the gold color of the glitter and I sprinkled it on top. And then once again, I'm going to burnish it in with my fingers first just to make sure I have all that adhesive covered. And then I'm going to tap off the excess and put it back into the jar before burnishing it a second time with my bone folder, which, like I mentioned earlier, really pushes that glitter into the adhesive and makes it so that this glitter does not come off when the card is done. That's one great thing I love about the Elizabeth Crafts glitter. Once you adhere it to this adhesive and burnish it in, it does not come off anywhere. So it's just a really great glitter to work with. So now you can see here I have the panel completely finished, and I also wanted to show you another panel that I did that has just silver and gold, just to kind of show you the difference. You can do a really colorful panel like I did in the one I showed on screen, or you can do a more subtle pattern, which I did in the silver and gold one. Exact same technique, I did everything the same, I just changed up the glitters that I used. So now that we have two of these striped glitter backgrounds created, we're going to go ahead and use one of them to create a card. So I'm going to use the silver and the gold background piece, and I've went ahead and already stamped and colored and die cut this adorable elephant, which is from the Adorable Elephant stamp set. And I've also cut out the word hello from the Thanks and Hello Dynamics set. This is one of my favorite sentiment die sets. I absolutely love the font, and I just think they're so pretty, and they can work both elegantly, they can work in so many different card designs. So I really love using these die cuts on my card designs for my sentiment. So what I did is I cut a piece of vellum out with a scalloped circle stacks die, and I took the hello greeting and I put some liquid adhesive on the back of it, and I adhered it right to the vellum. Now before it fully dries, I want to adhere the elephant so he's kind of looks like he's sitting on the E of the hello. I just thought it was kind of a cute design to kind of tuck him in there and make him look like he's actually part of that sentiment. So before the adhesive fully dried on the hello, I stuck him underneath there and then pushed everything down so it would all adhere together. And now I can adhere this little panel to the background piece. Now I put everything on vellum because I didn't want to take away from any of that striped glitter background. I figure if we put this much work into creating this awesome sparkly background, we really want to be able to see it on the card design. So using the vellum as the background area for the elephant and the sentiment helps it to stand out against the background, but also lets you see that glitter underneath. So it's just a great way to show the glitter, but also make sure your focal point stands out on the card. And then once I had the focal piece on there, I went ahead and cut the excess off the side, and then I added the whole entire panel to a grout gray card base. And now I have this really fun card design, this super sparkly glitter, and it was so easy to create, and it looks like it was store-bought just like it is. So it's just such a fun way to dress up your vellum. To finish off the card design, I decided to use some Nouveau drops. This is the Silver Moon Dust ones, and they are like a glittery silver. And I just put a couple of drops of these around the sentiment and the elephant on the open areas of that vellum circle, and then that's going to complete today's card. And that's also going to bring us to this week's giveaway. So if you leave a comment on today's video by this Thursday, you'll be eligible to win the Hello and Thanks Dynamics die set, as well as a pack of MFT vellum. So good luck, and I will see you next week in another MFTv episode. Thanks for watching.